Welcome back. I just took a little break. I got my water from talking for so long, and I've written out some of the next problem, 4A, which is about Turing machines. And we want to write instructions for a Turing machine that will take a number in unary. So unary you might think of as like tally marks. So like this is 1 and this is 2, and like that's 6, right? It's just the number of tally marks that you make. And it says you basically want to double it, multiply it by 2. So if they input 3 marks, you want to output 6. And we have to write instructions for a Turing machine that does this. The first thing that comes to my mind, again, definitely not the most efficient way to do this, but in the problem it specifies that we can use additional tape symbols. I will do that. I'll just say, they give me an input like 3 1s. I'm going to put like an X here as a marker, and then I'm going to go back, change each of these to, maybe like G, just whatever marker, doesn't matter. And then every time I do that, I'll put 2 1s over here. Go back, change this into a G, put 2 more 1s, change this into a G, 2 more 1s, and then I'll go over here, I'll see this blank, and then I'll erase all these G's, erase the X, and then end here on the leftmost of my list of 1s, which I think is what we want. The machine is halted and the head is on the leftmost one. Yeah, just like that. Okay. So I'm not going to write out ins every time. I'm just going to have my C state, my C symbol, I guess I'll erase this guy kind of. Hopefully you can remember this. Maybe I'll condense this a little. C state, C symbol, N state, N symbol, dir. If you know what these are, if you don't know what these are, then do the Turing machine P set. So in order to go put this X over here, I know we start in Q1, so we just have to ignore all these 1s, go to the right until we find a blank. So I'll say Q1, sees a 1, stays in Q1, leaves it as a 1, and moves to the right. Once it encounters this blank, it also mentions the problem that the number is greater than 0. So it must be 1s. I shouldn't have to worry about zeros here. But if Q1 encounters a blank, which I'm assuming ... these are all filled with blanks, then it's going to change to Q2, make that blank into an X, move to, let's say, the left. Now I'm going to have a state that I loop back to multiple times that begins this procedure of writing a G, going to the right, and making 2 1s. So I'll kind of put a marker here. Q2, it sees a 1, changes to Q3, changes it to a G, and then we're going to say moves to the right. Now remember that this also has to be able to see multiple G's and go through them until it encounters 1, so I also want to say Q2, when you encounter a G, stay in Q2, leave it as a G, move to the left. Maybe I'll kind of mark off my states like this. Q3 now, we're assuming it has changed a 1 into a G. We want to go back to this X and then start moving back to the right so we can output these 1s. So I'll say Q3, if you encounter a G, stay in Q3, leave it as a G, move to the right. Q3, actually, why don't we just have Q3 go all the way across this X into the unknown, into these blanks, or even through these 1s until it hits a blank. Because each time we're going to be adding to the end of this list, whatever it is, whether it ends in an X or 1s. So I'm just going to say Q3 if you see a 1, leave it as a 1, move to the right. Q3 if you see a X, leave it as an X, move to the right. All staying in Q3. But if Q3 sees a blank, move to Q4, make that blank a 1, and move to the right. So this will output my first 1. Q4, I'm just going to say output my second 1. So Q4, it's only going to see a blank because I've moved right until I see a blank here. Right, so we have something like this. I've put my G, put my X, Q3 wrote the first one, Q4 is going to be here at this blank, write another one. So see a blank, write a one. I don't want to move to the right though, I want to move back to the left. So here's Q3, here's Q4. I'm going to start using a little bit more space over here to keep writing my instructions. CST, CSY, NST, NSY. Okay, so now we're here, we've outputted both of the ones and we move to the left. We're gonna get back to this X and then restart at state 2, where it changes ones into G's and does that until it finds 1. So I'll say, now we're in, I want Q4 to change to Q5. Q5, if you see a 1, stay in Q5, leave it as a 1, move to the left. Q5, if you see an X, move to Q6, leave it as an X, move to the left. Okay? In Q6, we're going to say, actually, can't we just go back to Q5 after, or go back to Q2 after we do that? After we see this X and we leave it as an X, move to the left, we're going to move to Q2. Okay, sure. So this should be Q2 here. And it's going to keep doing this until Q2 sees a blank, right? Currently, I don't have anything for that. I'll just write it over here. Remember that when you're writing your Turing machines in Racket, the order in which you had these didn't actually matter, but you just wrote them in order for fun, so you could understand it. If you wanted, you could, write this back over here, but I'm just gonna write it over here. I'm gonna say if Q2 encounters a blank, like in this case here, you've written out all your G's, right? It's gone through all the G's. It didn't find a 1 and moved to Q3, so it found a blank instead. It's done converting all the 1s to G's. Now we must have printed out all of our 1s correctly. It's going to erase all the G's and the X and end here. So I'll say move to Q6, leave that blank alone, move to the right, and Q6 is just going to erase these G's and this X. So G, stay in Q6, make it a blank, move to the right. Q6 encounters an X, stay in Q6, make it a blank, move to the right. And if Q6 encounters a 1, oh, this is a little annoying because it's, oh, actually, can't we just end after we change the X into a blank? Yeah, right, because after we change the X into a blank, then we're just going to end here. So I'll make this here Q7. 7 will be my halt state. I won't write any instructions for 7. And then I'll finish on the leftmost one of a string of 1s twice the length of the input string. All right, hope how I did that made sense to at least some of you. I know it's confusing to watch someone else write a Turing machine, or to write one yourself even. But just to review, we started at the left, we wrote an X, we went back, and we entered this kind of loop where we would put a G, go back, write 2 1s, put a G, put another G once we encountered a 1, go back, write 2 1s, and we do this until we had written these all into G's, encountered a blank, erase all these G's, and then end on the first of the 1s. Oh, and then we have to explain how the machine works. I just told you I'm not going to write it out, but make sure that you read the problem clearly and do all parts of it if you do that. 4b says, an initial configuration for your machine is given below with the head on the leftmost of a sequence of 2 1s and the rest of the tape blank in state Q1. Please show the next 6 configurations in order. Number them 2 through 7. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what am I doing? 4, 5, 6, 7. And it said it's starting like this. I hope you can read. Maybe I should have allocated more space. Mallocked more space. For those of you who code in C. Q1. So I'm just going to run through what I did over here. This is going to say, it wants me to do the next 6 configurations, is that right? Next 6 configurations. So mine is going to go to the right, leave this one alone for now. Then it's going to leave that one alone, move over here. Once it encounters this blank, it's going to move to Q2. I think it's moving back this way. Q2 encounters that 1, moves to Q3 and changes it to a G. And then moves to the right. Q2 encounters 1, moves to the right. 6 is going to say, I think, let's see. So in Q3, if I encounter a blank, oh, I did something wrong. Q2 goes to Q3. Q3 encounters. Oh, I didn't even. Oh boy. Didn't write something to do for Q3 when it encounters a blank. Q3 encounters a blank, move to Q4, make it a 1, move to the right. Okay, Q4 encounters a blank, Q5, 1, move to the left. Okay, you guys catch that when I did that? Careful, make sure you have very well aligned writing and you don't forget to write your Turing machines properly. Okay, so Q3 encounters a blank, changes to Q4, or first encounters an X, stays in Q3, moves to the right, B1GX, blank, Q3. In the 7th configuration, it changes that blank here to a 1, moves to Q4, blank, 1GX, X1, Q4. Let me write this a little bit clearer. So it changed this blank into a 1, moved to the right, and there's another blank there. All right, those are the next 6 configurations. Sorry about that error earlier. I hope this makes some sense. Great, and that's all of question 4, assuming that you wrote your descriptions out and all of this nonsense. I'm going to move on to question 5 after erasing this really quickly.